Well, hopefully this isn't aimed too far down. I think it might be. Crap. No, that's too much. Fucking A. Well, fuck. Alright, there. With a cigarette and a kitchen match, I got it aimed more or less to my satisfaction. It's Don Stacy's YouTube channel where I discuss anything that comes to mind, but what came to mind this morning, I wrote down, and it's an essay, short. So here goes. When anyone speaks, each of his or her words are imbued with a pronounced set of tonal qualities, characteristics, or what have you. These having originated from the sound of the parents' voices, which in turn, particularly they themselves were born in the same geographic region as their child, and the same child is and remains immersed in the tonal spoken sounds and characteristic inflection patterns found in that regional dialect. As far as this amateur linguist can tell, there are 4 principal dialects in the United States. While the remaining 4th dialect of American English is frequently spoken by black citizens in this country who were born here. So to be somewhat specific, there is the most common Midwestern accent, which all radio and television broadcasters utilize, and which extends all the way to the West Coast with only minor variants along the way. And nearly as prolific is the Southern accent, which seems to have come to dominate the way English is often spoken in the United States military. And finally, there's the Northeastern accent with all its sub-regional variants and nuances. For example, just compare the way a pipe fitter speaks in Portland, Maine with the way his fellow union member in Newark, New Jersey would speak. In fact, the Maine accent is very distinct. Interestingly, those who go through 4 years of university coursework will begin to, their accent that is, will begin to diminish and soften the student's regional accent. Should have stuck with it. Whether from Austin or Harlem, Seattle or Detroit, and so on. One of the professional comedians' tricks of the trade is to do vocal impressions of well-known politicians, actors, and eccentric business tycoons. Mimicking is akin to mockery, which is one of the central components and motivations of satire. And satire has been with and enjoyed by human beings at least ever since the time of Aristophanes, the ancient Greek comic playwright. Imitation may be a form of flattery, but replicating the sound of another person's voice while deriding and ridiculing that same individual is common fare for the comedian. What strikes people as amusing or hilarious? And why do we refer to the end of a joke as the punchline? Because the surprise ending of the joke is an overturning of expectation. Which is why cleverly deployed satire has proven to be so subversive over the centuries. Now, Confinement has been on everyone's mind because of our universally shared collective problem we all continuously face with the coronavirus pandemic. For significant periods of time in many states, if not most, across the country, businesses have been shuttered by governor-issued mandates, right along with the considerable stricture of remaining at home apart from driving to the supermarket, the doctor's office, or the nearest gasoline and diesel station. For those more loquacious and animated than most, the ones who love to socialize and who find remaining alone for even a few hours at a stretch a terrible burden, those stay-in-place mandates proved to be nearly intolerable, were it not for everyone's vitally necessary smartphone and computer. In some quite actual sense, society as a whole has undergone a kind of compulsory introversion. And for friendly and normally upbeat Americans, this transformation throughout the nation has been, for many, psychologically traumatizing and agonizing. The feeling of being cut off from one another, completely and utterly cut off, is indeed a frightening proposition. And those who had never experienced, let alone become accustomed to, long periods of solitude, suffered a great deal. The hard truth is that nearly all of us find it utterly impossible to laugh at our own misery and misfortune. But as many preacher has pointed out, there can always be found more wretched cases than your own. And accordingly, one man's hovel proves to be another fellow's mansion. Comparison generates envy and resentment rather than admiration when a working man or a working woman looks for a few seconds at the vast financial empires created by the likes of Steve Jobs, John D. Rockefeller, Bill Gates, J.P. Morgan, Elon Musk, and Alexander Graham Bell. Through sheer temperament, perhaps, I have not found daily life during even the worst period of the pandemic to have been an intolerable burden. But I rather easily suspect that I'm in a small minority on this count. I cannot speak for professional writers since I am most decidedly not one of that rare breed, the dedicated journalist committed to uncovering the truth, or even a scientist devoted to his researches and also equally committed to uncovering the truth, and who must on occasion publish a paper in a respected scientific journal explaining hypothesis, approach, the structure and design of any experiment, and particularly important, the data gathered and the conclusion or conclusions drawn. And with that, I concluded the essay. I didn't have anything else to say, nor do I at this time. Good day.